The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? Kayla Burton, Chris Forsberg. Kayla, so here's the thing. I've invited you on the postgame pod a handful of times this year. Usually, we're always very busy after the games.
Yes.
I hate dragging you into something else. But mostly, I hate the fact that I think every time I brought you on the pod, it's been a loss. Like, literally, every time we're at the Garden, it's a loss.
Are you trying to tell me something?
No, I don't like.
Am I just bad energy?
No, like
it's true.
because
We're right.
the result has already happened.
I know. Usually we're either like at the Garden.
Right.
It's a loss. And we're like, okay, you know what it was though, Chris? I was wearing blue when it was Dallas.
I love it. This is how we've.
I do. It's my fault. Like I kind of Friday against the Caps was not my fault.
Did you have any maroon and gold?
No,
or
I made sure of it too. I was like, I can't play with the top team.
I
in the
almost
East.
wore this shirt. I grabbed this shirt first, and then I said, "Wait, maroon."
Can't.
But evidently, maybe I should have. Maybe I would have reversed the energy
Reversed the
somehow.
curse.
I don't know, reversed the jinx.
Well, we did today. I'm honored. I'm honored to get a win. I feel like it's time.
Right?
My losing streak was outrageous.
I wasn't going to bother you. I knew you had some NBC 10 stuff to do afterward, but then they won, so I was like, you know what? It would be nice if she could actually talk about a happy game for a change.
Up my standings here.
we gotta get your pod win-loss record back on track.
Yeah.
What was your biggest takeaway from
Horford.
today's win? Oh, okay.
I can already cut you off. Al
I love
Horford.
it.
I loved it. Big Al. I was such a fan of what he did today. I can go on and on. He set the tone. It was fun to see him. God forbid if I say, 38 years old?
38 years old.
Like, it's,
almost 39.
Right. And he's, in the first quarter, I believe, he was making that hustle play, diving after a loose ball, trying to keep it in bounds. He did keep it in bounds, and then Denver got it. But just what he was able to do against the Joker. This guy is a 3-time MVP. I mean, he's arguably going to get it again. And Al limiting him to 11 points in the first half, and then what he was able to do throughout the duration of the game when they went on their little run. I'm just really applauding this guy here tonight.
It's crazy to me because it's like Al will play a game against, and I'm gonna try to pick like a generic center, for like if they play the Hornets, it's hard to get up for the Hornets, right?
Right.
He's been in the league a long time. It's all about winning championships at this point. The old Monday night in Charlotte on League Pass, not gonna get the juices flowing. But throw Al out there against Giannis, against Jokic, against like anybody who's legit, like. Especially Embiid, especially the Sixers, anybody that he has just even a little bit of motivation to go against. And Al's like, hey, I'm 25 again.
It's unbelievable.
It really is. And this is part of the reason why, I'd probably do the same thing with Drew Holiday, who is 34, but obviously battling mallet finger, and we'll get into that a little later.
Yeah.
But, I have just unshakable belief that when these guys get to the playoffs and it matters, they'll be fine. Because there's little glimpses like this where you're like, oh, yeah. Al can just turn it up. He can look spry and look young. He can give you a nice jolt. Oh, you throw him in the starting lineup. Oh, this is the second most. Yeah. 2 of his 3 highest minutes games have come in the last 3 games. So against Cleveland and against
top teams, like nothing light.
And it's just like I don't know. Luckily,
and Detroit was against Detroit. They were on a 7-game win streak at that point. So
Al wants to be out there when it matters. He brings it. He's a delight to watch.
And I think, too, he just you mentioned it. Like, it's such a good sign for the playoff run. Like, going into the season, everyone's like, how is Al going to do,
And when he has an off night, you can't help but be like, oh, is Father Time catching up?
Right. Like, is he chilling? And then the other thing is, like, okay, they went double big here tonight with Luke Cornett in that starting lineup. And Luke has missed the past couple of games for personal reasons. And you would think, like, okay, some of these younger guys, they're fresh. They're Luke's not smart. He can defend. But Joe Mazzulla's like, nope, this is exactly who we want. We want Al Horford. And I think it just is such a testament to who he is, the selflessness that he carries throughout the season, and then able to be such a role player in big games like this.
And it looks like he's having fun. Like, every time I say, well, if they win another championship, maybe he'll retire. Or maybe he'll play till he's like 50. Because
he's got Ian next to him in post-game being like, hey, Dad, great job.
Right. Ian's going to be like a high school senior, and like still Al will be playing. Like, it's incredible. Cool. So like it's a lot of fun watching.
What
Al.
was your biggest takeaway from today?
I always invariably come back to Derrick White
Yes.
because
he could have gotten the Tommy Award too.
And I don't blame Scal for leaning the way he did, but it seems like this is the pattern where the Celtics have when they have big first halves and you're like, oh, this is gonna be nice and breezy. Then it gets uncomfortable, and you start the fourth quarter and Tatum's on the bench, and you're like, how are they going to weather this, right? Like, because they typically can be volatile in that instance. And what happens invariably? Derrick White hits some threes, reaches into those pockets, pulls out his threes, and off the Celtics go. So it will never stop surprising me because, like, when Derrick first got here, they were still figuring out how to maximize him. He was still blossoming as a player. But there's one like game that you can go back and it was Mazzulla's first year, and he didn't play him in the fourth quarter in Utah or against Utah, and it was a big deal. Like, it was like, Derrick's usually pretty good in those spots. Why isn't he out there? And it helped remind everybody that he should be out there. And then he had all those moments through the playoffs, the tip in Miami,
Yep.
like he does what he does. And today it wasn't like a super big boom, but 8 points, 2 threes, and one huge putback after that he cut it to 3 is what Derrick White does.
When Derrick White plays at this level, like what we just saw, it's such a positive sign for the Celtics going. I don't want to skip these next games because they're important, especially at home, and you got the Lakers coming up, OKC, et cetera. But when you are seeing Derrick White consistently right now playing the way he's playing, sure, you can argue Detroit. Like, I think this. Look, you're going to lose sometimes.
I think we
need
to the Detroit game really didn't happen.
It was fine. It didn't happen. It's whatever.
It was a schedule. Like much the same way. Like, if we're being honest, today was a schedule loss for Detroit, Denver. They'd played a lot. You just got the sense that, especially with the Celtics coming off 2 losses, it was going to be tough. That Detroit game didn't bother me.
Me too.
That was their Super Bowl. They were motivated for it,
Yeah.
and I think they're going to have a lot more Super Bowls moving forward.
Easily play out of his mind. Like,
yeah,
sure, we'll take it.
So,
but Derrick has been, when he's been this consistent, it makes you just feel like, Celtics are okay. They're already okay with the Jays, and Kristaps, like, when he's healthy, and I hope he is healthy because we didn't see him here tonight, but
this illness.
What'd you say?
I said this illness with Kristaps.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, right? We don't know.
But to your point, he missed the game due to illness. Tried to come back for that Detroit game, looked awful, and so maybe it's better. That
he looked out of it too. Like, I was talking to him post game, and you could tell he was really on himself, saying I didn't play well.
And good of him to own it. But when you're battling,
so
something,
get him healthy for the postseason, et cetera. And then Derrick White, just keep playing the way you did. That fourth quarter felt. I'm just re-energized when I see D White do what he did in the fourth. It's fun.
Remind me, our friends over at I Love Boston Sports sent some new Derrick sweatshirts.
I don't have one.
No. So I have it on my desk.
Oh, that's
I never gave it to you.
Shout out you guys.
Same people that did the tan Peyton Pritchard shirts.
Is he just as well? He should be darker.
So
than Peyton
he is.
Is he Eddie's color?
And I think he has his threes in his pocket, and
because Peyton's my color, and I'm black and white. So Derrick White, who also we're the same, we're biracial. Right. He's definitely got to be a little hinted darker.
A little bit.
No, those sweatshirts are fire though.
They really are.
I love them.
And we cannot thank them enough. I should have made it a rule, like how we do it when Pritchard gets 20 points. We'll sometimes bust out the shirt for post up. I was going to say, whenever Derrick gets 5 threes, we should do it. Well, he got 5 threes tonight, and I'm slipping. I should have at least brought it on the pod. That's on me. Hand up. I own it. Much like the Jays.
There'll be another time.
Much like the Jays, bad shooting night, a lot of turnovers, but you know what? They had assists. They figured out a way. They found a way to impact winning. Celtics get the W. We're going to start looking ahead. The game's not as sexy coming up, but there's still a little bit talked about before we get to the Lakers and the Oklahoma City and the really fun game. So here's the rest from our post-game show.
Are you ready to enter the realm of affordable luxury? Drew Carter here with 24 Infinity of Plymouth, where performance comes for less.
Right now, lock in 2.9% APR financing for 60 months on a new Infinity QX80 Lux.
Ready to trade and upgrade? You'll get top dollar for your trade. Visit 24 Infinity of Plymouth at 151 Samoset Street and online at 24infinityofplymouth.com.
This game got a little tight. Celtics led by 20 a couple different times in this one, and Denver able to cut it all the way down to 3 in the final couple of minutes. Celtics still making the right plays down the stretch to get the win. Eddie, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on their ability to hang on, get this victory.
Man, listen, this is the one thing about this team is I feel great about them. 1 second, 1 quarter, then all of a sudden I'm feeling like, what are we doing? I thought in the first half we had great spacing offensively. We were making the right plays defensively. We were in the right spots defensively. And then in the second half, it looked like we started gambling. Our spacing got bad. We didn't close out that third quarter. And so it's like they got me on this roller coaster ride right now where I don't know, sometimes I don't know what team that's going to show up. in that fourth quarter, they did a great job closing that fourth quarter out. I mean, Jamal Murray was hitting shots and playing well, but it's a roller coaster ride. At the end of the day, we got the W, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, and speaking of a roller coaster, think about yesterday, Brown, or 2 days ago against Cleveland. Brown and Tatum combined for over 70 points. 83. And then tonight, those guys, well, Brown played well, but Tatum struggled, and we still found a way to win. Horford was great. Derrick White was amazing in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. So you just have, and we talk about it a lot with this team, different ways to win games. Today was a different way that they showed it, but I do agree with Eddie. Like you can not make shots, but you wouldn't think that your spacing in the first half would be impeccable, and then in the second half would be off. And then in the fourth quarter, impeccable again, right? So that should be a non-negotiable. And I think if it was like that, we wouldn't run the roller coaster ride. But for whatever reason, right there in the middle of the third to the start of the fourth, the team kind of lost their way a little bit.
Is that something that the opponents are doing defensively?
Nah.
Is that?
No, we get complacent. Like our pace slows down, the ball slows down. We don't drive, we don't move it. I know we want to play a little bit slower when we have a lead, but it becomes like a snail pace. And everything they do, it's like, I guess I should pass it. I guess I should swing it. Versus in the first half, that ball is just popping. You're not even thinking. And that's where, when we play slow, it feels like that's what we do. But you have to be able to do that in the playoffs. And we did that last year. And then when the playoffs rolled around, we didn't have any problem playing either style.
I think it's a byproduct at times of letting go of the rope on the defensive end. I've always said, I think Al Horford was amazing tonight. You want to know why?
Guarded.
He had to guard Jokic. He was locked into Jokic. Derrick White, Jamal Murray started getting going. What Derrick White do? He had to guard him. Even though Jamal Murray was knocking down shots, now, all of a sudden, because he's locked in, guess what he's doing? Yeah. He's knocking down shots. So they're trading shots. I think it's a byproduct of, like, at times we just kind of exhale when, once you get, it's like you ever seen a boa constrictor, right? When they
go. When you
get a boa, you've seen
nature's, what do you call it? National Geographic.
Yeah, National Geographic.
Discovery Channel, right?
Yeah, all that stuff right there. Animal Planet, whatever you want to say. But a boa constrictor, what it does is every time that you inhale, it squeezes tighter. So that's how we have to be. Like, every time that we got somebody on the ropes, we just squeeze a little tighter, keep squeezing. Don't ever relax. They don't relax till it's over with. You know, as far as the snakes, as I'm talking about. But I just think we have too many times to where we get comfortable and we just like, okay, cool. Now we could just come down. We could just pass it around. We could take shots. And then we start missing shots. And then we don't play defense on the other end. And I think that those are the two things that they got to get consistent with balancing.
You brought it up. So Tatum and Brown combined for 83 points the other night. Tonight, 38. And the other night, they lose that game to Cleveland. They didn't get enough from the supporting cast. Felt like from the jump, everyone was ready to go as far as the supporting cast goes. As soon as they got on the floor, they were making plays.
Well, a lot of that has to do with the defense and how much emphasis they put towards Tatum. Tatum still gets double teamed. I felt like today he was a little bit like we've seen Tatum in the last, what do you want to call it, 6 weeks. Best basketball he's ever played, in my opinion. And he was really getting off the ball quicker. Today, it was a little sticky. Whatever the reason, I don't know. It could be anything. It could be fatigue, afternoon start, whatever. But the ball was a little sticky in both of Tatum and Brown's hands. But ultimately, the other guys did get it going. And the defense was tilting towards those guys. So, you could still be impactful, especially if you're like a star player drawing two. The rest of the guys will benefit off of how much the defense focuses on the star players.
I was thinking about it now, just replaying the game in my head right now, as you were talking about ball sticking and like our decision making wasn't as crisp. And you were like, hey, it could have been a 1 o'clock start, a little bit of fatigue or whatever. I think that they would have been. I think they were a little bit predetermined. Because some of those plays were like, I'm going to make this play instead of just reacting to what the defense is making you react to when you're reading it. So I think a lot of that came down to, we could say the 1 o'clock start, but I just thought that we were a little bit predetermined on some of our, the handful of our turnovers that we had, that we could have took care of that a little better. And that allowed Denver to get back in this basketball game.
How many, do we have the final, how many total assists did we have? Because we had 17
at
the half, and it didn't feel like we had a ton in the second.
I got him for 26 overall.
So just 9 assists in the second half.
And the other night it was 5 in the second.
We only had 3 in the third quarter.
3 in the third quarter, 5 in the second half against Cleveland.
Yeah.
We can harp on it all you want, and they can say whatever they want. We're at our best when that ball is really popping around.
No question.
Celtics get the win still, 110-103. Abby standing by with Al Horford back at TD Garden.
Al, Denver cut the lead to 3 again there late in the fourth. How did you guys close this out?
Man, just stayed locked in, try to learn from our mistakes from last game. And even though we couldn't get it going offensively, we got stops when we needed to.
Yeah, we talked before the game about what would be required in this game. What do you like best about the way you guys responded?
Just our effort. Defensively, I felt like we were great, flying all over the place. Luke and Nimi were great for us tonight. Their presence, contesting at the rim, like you and I talked about, you can't stop Jokic. So it has to be a collective thing, and I feel like our team was really engaged on that.
What worked there? Because you guys were pretty effective. You almost outscored him yourself.
Everybody just helping. You can't contain a guy like that. He's the best player in our game for a reason, and we really try to do the best job that we could.
Al, finally, the Jays, a rough shooting night, but stayed with it on the floor.
No question about it. They understand it's about getting wins here, and sometimes they're not going to fall, and you got to find a way to get it done.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Joe mentioned that he kind of felt in this one that Al was bringing it from the jump. Like you just could tell it was going to be one of those nights. As a teammate, you've played with him for a while now. Can you feel at a certain point in a game like he's kind of going off today, or he has a different level of intensity? And what does that do for the rest of you guys?
Yeah, I think every game he brings it, but just kind of had the extra edge today, and I feel like when he's saving a ball or just creating extra possessions for us, that's kind of like when you notice it. But I think he definitely had that mindset, and we did a better job than we have in the past of finding him, and he made big plays for us on both sides of the ball.
Derrick, you made some big shots in the fourth quarter. How comfortable have you gotten in those spots, taking and making those big shots? And what has sort of led on this team, with the amount of talent you guys have, for you to be that comfortable and confident in taking those shots?
Yeah, most of the time I start the fourth and just try to be aggressive and pick my spots. I think each game's a little bit different, and you kind of just have to read it, but my teammates and the coaching staff really trust me, and so that kind of gives you the confidence to go out there and be aggressive and try to take and make some big shots.
And then Joe talked about the importance of defense leading to offense in a game like this. You guys had a bunch of turnovers, or forced a bunch of turnovers, I should say, in that fourth quarter. As a player, if you get a steal, you get a block, can you feel like the momentum taking? Do you feel more confident taking that next shot? Like, what is that process like internally in your mind when you make a big play on defense to go to the other end?
Yeah, I think it's a big momentum shift. You get a steal, you're running in transition, hitting a three, getting a dunk, whatever it might be. The crowd gets going. I feel like it's just a big momentum shifter, and so just all those factors come together, and it's a big play for just the momentum purposes.
Derrick, just now when you sat down, it looked like you kind of made a surprised face at the stat sheet. I'm wondering what caught your eye, but more broadly, after a game, when you do look at like a generic box score, where do you look first? What kind of numbers do you think tell the best story?
I don't know. All the numbers kind of just blend together. You just
not a stats guy?
I am, but I'm not. I like numbers. But kind of just look down there and kind of tells you a little bit of what's going on. I think I was looking, I had 11 threes. I didn't think I took that many, but that's pretty on brand, I guess. But other than that, I just see what's going on, see who had a big game, what little things that maybe you don't notice at the time while you're playing, so stuff like that.
Derrick, back to Al. His ability to handle these matchups pretty much on his own, how does that help you guys in your overall defensive scheming?
It's huge, especially guys of the highest caliber of Jokic. We've seen him guard pretty much every big in the league, and so just a lot of trust we have in him, and we know he's gonna just make it difficult for them as much difficult as you can, and so just a great guy to have on your team.
Last two questions.
Obviously, no Drew the last couple of games. Talking to him before the game, it sounds like he might miss some more time with the finger injury. What changes for you when he's not out there, and just as a team, how do you collectively kind of fill that void?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice having Drew out there, just another guy that kind of makes a play, and especially defensively, you feel like he's always in the right position, just doing a lot of different things for us. And so obviously it's different not having him out there, and we know he's going to do whatever he needs to do to get back as quick as possible, and guys are just going to have to step up and just try to make those plays. I mean, you can't be a Drew Holiday, but we can all just come together and just do a little bit more.
Jaylen, Joe talked about the importance of defense leading to offense. You had a couple of blocks in that fourth quarter, including the one at the end of the game that sort of felt like the dagger, or the last play that sort of helped you guys get that win. What does that mean to you? How important is that? The defense leading to offense.
Super important. I think that's what kept us in the game, especially when they were starting to make a run. We just made some plays on defense. Shots weren't going in towards the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. But we made some good plays on defense in order to hold on. So you play good defense, you always get yourself a chance to win. Keeping them around 100 points. I think they had 103 tonight, which is not bad.
And then, especially early in this game, you were going at Jamal Murray a lot. You went at Darius Garland a little bit last game. What makes you so comfortable in those spots against maybe smaller guards where you can sort of get into the post and get to your shot?
I'm just using my size, using my strength, just getting to my spots and raising up. Tonight I had a couple one that went short. I've been my knee had been bothering me a little bit, but anytime I get 2 feet in the green and I can just rise up, I think I'm one of the best in the game at that.
Jaylen, you've called yourself the captain of this team before. I'm wondering, between a loss like Friday and then quick turnaround Sunday afternoon game, as a leader of this team, what's your process between game doesn't go your way Friday night, you have another game Sunday, between the two games, what are your responsibilities as you see it?
Just come out, try to get off to a good start in the first quarter, kind of set the tone on defense, and just, talk us through it. We miss shots, don't hang your head. Next possession, and play with urgency. We didn't want to drop another game. We couldn't come into the game like it was just casual. Denver's been playing well lately, so we wanted to make sure that we got off to a good start and get a win. But just being vocal, throughout the season, guys in and out the lineup or whatever the case may be. Just whoever we just got to do our job, be ready to go, and be together. And I think that's half the battle.
Jaylen, you had 8 assists tonight, 4 in the fourth quarter. What did you see leading up to that and over the course of the game that allowed you to kind of attack them as a facilitator in the final frame?
Yeah, I was just trying to, read their coverages and their matchups on me. They were switching guys out, like they had Murray on me, Westbrook would guard me, what's his name, Christian Braun. So just trying to find my points of attack. I had some turnovers late as well, but just seeing the game and making plays for my teammates.
Joe talked about just the impact that Al Horford has on you guys, especially when he's kind of extra locked in like he was tonight. As a teammate, can you tell from before the game, the moment the game starts, like when is it obvious that he's going to have kind of one of those performances?
You can't always tell, but when he's there, when it's there, So tonight, big time matchup on Jokic for a large part of the game, fighting him, battling him on the boards. We want to reward him for his work. So just, I was looking for Al early, was able to connect to him a few times in that final one in transition where he gets the tip on the, gets his hand, gets a deflection, sprints in transition. I see him running, throw it back to the big fella. He's supposed to dunk that, but, he got 5 kids, so we let him slide.
I was going to ask about that play, but you know, we can't have the conversation about Al without mentioning he's almost 39, you know, and he's still doing this stuff, still handling the matchups on his own, still making that play and getting up the floor. What does that mean for you guys to see him continue to hold his own defensively without help and make those plays, you know, running the floor like you just mentioned?
Yeah, Al is an ultimate team guy. He's a great connector for our unit. He does his job night in and night out. So anytime he's on the floor, he stretches the floor, his shots. So anytime we can get an easy one to him, we know he has, you know, because he does all the dirty work on the other side. So tonight he had it rolling, and like especially me knowing that, seeing him battling on the boards, see he was moving well. I'm gonna try to find him. So I mean, I might have connected to Al 2 or 3 times, maybe more, but I was looking for him all game.
Jaylen, you mentioned your knee. That was a new injury designation for you. How banged up? How much are you dealing with right now? And then is the knee something that maybe could linger?
I'm not sure. It's been bothering me since before the break. Something I'll definitely take a look at, but you know, it's just the season. I'm making any excuses for it, but just try to take care of my body as best as possible and get out there and do what my team needs me to do. So we'll see how it is going forward.
Jaylen, Cleveland tried to run you guys off the three-point line, limit your attempts, and so did Denver. And you guys are almost won Friday and won today. What are you guys doing to combat teams trying to run you off the three? And it seems like that enables you to attack and get to the free throw line more. How does that make advantage your game?
Yeah, teams are staying home. They're staying home, so they're living with those matchups with guys on me or JT, and we got to make them pay if they're going to do that. If you're going to, put a smaller guard on me, I got to get to the paint and get to the free throw line or take a high percentage shot. And same thing with JT. You got to do the same thing. So at times, a few shots, maybe we let them off the hook a little bit, but, I'm always seeing if a team is staying home, that means they forcing you to go score the ball. And, we've gotten comfortable making those reads and making those passes, but, at times you just got to be aggressive and put the ball in the basket if they're not going to stop you.
All right, Kayla. I don't want to say it's like this next game. First off, Celtics have 2 days off, which is good because they need to rest after it's been a grind. They'll get a practice, which always helps. Guys like Torrey Craig get a chance to actually get involved. That will
Still
help.
learn the playbook a little bit.
Wednesday night, the Trailblazers come to town.
Yes.
Now, after you played Detroit, after you've played Cleveland, after you've played Denver. Sometimes it can be hard to want to, kick that throttle up against the Portland Trailblazers. But last I looked, actually, as we were recording this, Portland was up on Cleveland.
That's a problem.
And they've won 4 in a row. I keep saying they're a little frisky. Like, these young teams that don't know any better, like, the front offices and the coaches understand, they're probably tanking. Not tanking, but, they're not going to win a lot of games. And you're playing for the future. But they may be finding some stuff. And the one person who won't be there is Rob Williams. That breaks my heart.
I know.
Or at least he won't be on the court. I hope he's here.
I hope he's there too. So because you're going to that.
I am. I'm going over there.
Get there early.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go just knock on the locker room.
Does he know? I'm a rookie here, so forgive me. Does he know your love for him, like the relationship there?
That is the best part about this, because people ask me that all the time.
Like, does he know? Like,
I think he's vaguely aware, but I also part of why I love Rob is that he is blissfully unaware sometimes of everything going on around him.
But he would have such a great appreciation. This needs to happen. We need to make sure that he knows
I can't
you're
tell
his
you
guy.
I don't know if you ever heard this story, but the day he got traded, we had been trying to find a day to do a podcast together, and he literally texted and said, "How about?" I want to say it was 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and so I was supposed to play in a golf tournament that day, and I was like, you know what? I got to be there at 8:30 or something like that. But I'm like, for Rob, I'm definitely doing this.
Scratch the tournament.
And so I was just so pumped. So Rob did it from his car on the way to the Celtics facility.
Oh, cool.
He was going in for a workout. We had this great talk. I don't think we even talked basketball for more than a couple minutes. It was all about life and what he was doing off the court, and it was super fun. I was so glad we finally got to do it. 2 hours later, he got traded.
That is, I've never known that story. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Did you just? Oh my gosh!
Literally, the last thing I said to him, I said, "Hey, y'all good?" And he was like, "Yeah, everything's good."
What?
And
2 hours later?
And you get 2 hours later, right before it was essentially the Drew Holiday trade on the eve of training camp. He'd had a really good summer. I think there was a lot of hope about where he could go to. But obviously, to get a player, you have to give up a player.
Yeah.
And so, like, even in that moment, while I was more stung than probably everybody else, you know, in a summer where you gave up Marcus Smart and you needed some help at that guard position, I understood the move. And, it brought him a championship. I can't complain.
Right.
But I was sitting there on the golf course, and we started.
Did you tell people, like,
no,
do you guys understand what just happened 2 hours before?
So someone had texted me like a few minutes before it went on Twitter, and like I think I just kind of fell over on the side of a green, and then everybody kind of like kept like everyone because everyone knows how much I love Rob, so like there was like wellness checks throughout the course of people coming over.
And you probably went into the golf course being like, "Hey, I just got done with the podcast with Rob." So they're like, "Oh, that's sick."
I didn't even tell people that because I was like, it was just like it was too much.
Whatever.
The next part of it was like this is the last gasp, like my last day before the season starts, and I really wanted to play in this tournament, and I'm like, I can't just leave my group, so I'm like, kind of told the people here, I said, look, I'll do something, I'll react. Obviously, I got to be like write something or do a podcast or whatever, but I'm like, I just need a couple hours to get through this day. But as I've lost my focus. I'm playing terrible, and so at one point there was a backup on one of the holes. So I literally, there's like I don't know how to really explain this. This is a wooded area, and I went and I sat and I propped my phone up, and I was just like, it was just like therapy. I was like,
was it raining?
No, it would have been appropriate, right? It was actually really sunny and nice, and I was like, hey everybody, so Chris here on the golf course. I just want to, and I'm like letting out all the emotions.
No, it's true though.
So my buddies all took pictures of me, like looking downtrodden in the woods.
Do you have those pictures?
We do. It's somewhere on my phone,
okay.
and I should break that out. But yeah, that was my very long-winded way of saying it was quite a day.
You and Rob though both had to have just had a self-reflecting moment. Like he must have thought like, no way, I just told this guy, I just told Chris that, oh yeah, things are fine.
And again, it tells you that.
That's wild.
So, sometimes when you hear people say like you didn't know, like Rob has to know they were making changes that summer, that there was always the possibility.
There's always,
But you never think, especially as you're that close to training camp, that something of that magnitude is going to go down. And again, don't begrudge it because it led to a championship, and I completely understand it. But I do miss watching Rob, and whenever he's healthy, and I watch the late games, and it's fun to just see how he's doing. I just hope that. He's such a positive person.
Totally.
Like even no matter what the bumps in the road
Austin
are.
loved him here too, right?
Exactly.
I
I thought he was going to get traded to a contender like this year, but like again, maybe he's part of that future for Portland. We'll see. Bunch of young players, bunch of intriguing players. I'm hoping that you'll see a nice Time Lord reunion on Wednesday
I do not.
night.
I think that's such a great story.
Isn't it crazy?
I mean, it's not like a great for you story,
but
it is like a wow.
But it is a fun story.
That's a memorable
here's
story.
The one other like wrinkle in all this is. So they hadn't released the podcast yet, right? Like, so we recorded it. They're still editing it.
Did it ever get released?
We did. So we had this conversation like, what do we do? And I said, so much of it. One, it's intriguing because oh my God, here's a trade or here's a guy talking about like how happy he is and everything and like everything good about Boston, just like about to be blindsided, and then like. A lot of it wasn't about basketball; it was just about like life and stuff like that. So I was like, I think we should put it out there.
Yeah.
Of course, the trade reaction video did better than the Raw podcast, and I'm like, how ironic that we eventually tracked him down. So we had, I told his representatives, I said I'd love to do another podcast with them, and they've said probably need to give it some time. And we've never revisited it.
Yeah,
But you know what? It'll be good.
Hopefully,
be over there. It should be a fun game. Again, if the Trailblazers play to the way they have lately, they should be good. And then Philly and the second half of that back to back. You know how it is. We just want to fast forward to the Lakers and Oklahoma City.
But these do matter. We know these do kind of matter. Kind of.
We'll be back at the Garden on Saturday night for that big game. It's going to be a fun week. I know
that game is going to be wild. My brother, I don't know what he has this big misconception that he thinks I just have these tickets and we get these. I don't. I don't have extra tickets.
We could do a whole podcast of because people say that all the time.
Yeah. Can you get me? Yeah. And trust me, I would if I could.
100%.
And my brother never calls me. So like he randomly calls, and it's okay. It's just a bro syndrome thing. But like he never calls me, and I get a call from. This is what I'm figuring out. And I get a call from Austin, and I'm like, And he's like, hey Kayla, like how you doing? I'm like, Austin, what do you want? Like you really don't need to know He's like, hey, you got just wondering, Max and I, my guy, like we're trying to go to that Lakers game.
Oh man,
I'm doing great. Thank you.
And I would have sent the link to StubHub or like Ace Ticket or whatever the case may be, and been like, good luck.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time.
Be a great game, though.
My children have not been to a game at the Garden, so
Really?
we've taken them on the road a couple times because it's
We
more
gotta
fun.
get
You can go
your
to
kids
Disney
there.
and do Orlando.
Oh,
and-
shout out, by the way.
Yes.
Shout out your daughters.
and Lexi.
Zoe and Lexi for crushing it, y'all. Crushing it in a dance competition. It lasted all day, right? They had to stay in a
They're still
hotel.
going. I'm actually I'm deciding if I'm leaving here and going up to meet them. They're waiting for their awards, which doesn't start till 3 hours.
One
from
of their
now.
best performances ever, right?
So this is their first competition of the year. Dances are still. I don't know if any podcast listener wants to hear this, but
I
to
do.
put it in basketball terms, this would be like they've gone through the preseason, they're launching into the regular season now. You never know what to expect on opening night, and it sounds like they crushed it today. Probably because Dad wasn't there, so they were just like so much more locked in. We'll find out, but good
That's
job,
awesome.
girls. Good job, Kayla. Thank you. See, good
This
pod.
is fun. Positive vibes. Shout
Positive
out
vibes
Lex.
everywhere.
Shout out Zoe.
You finally get some days off because you've had a crazy week with the travel for the game.
Yeah, it was
and
fun to
this.
travel. It's all good vibes,
All right.
I'm excited. We're at the homestand, back in the win column. Get all thumbs up.
There we go.
Thumbs up.
I need everybody to go subscribe. Speaking of thumbs up, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Check us out on the YouTube page. We'll catch you on Wednesday night on the Celtics Talk Pod.